This e-lecture is part of Pearson's Professional Development Series for first-year writing instructors.
My name is Bruce Horner. I've been teaching first-year college composition as well as literature for almost 30 years at large and small universities. In my work with faculty, I frequently encounter frustration with students' apparent inability to read assigned texts very carefully, a frustration that students themselves also experience. Let me tell you about a two-pronged approach I take to help students with their reading. First, I always have students write something on the text that they've been assigned to read, even if it's just notes or underlining and a quick summary, and to give me a copy of what they've done the day that we're to discuss the text. Having to write something in response to what they've read helps ensure that students will do the reading, and it gets them started on the task of articulating what the text might mean. But just having students write something in response to what they've read doesn't by itself help them read more carefully, because their reading habits often limit what they focus on. To address this problem, my colleague Ming Lu and I have learned to ask students to look at what they have written in response to a text, often enough to look just at what they've underlined in the text, and to then use these to identify passages and features of the text that they have not focused on, that, it turns out, can give them a different sense of the text's meaning, either by suggesting a very different interpretation or by helping them to develop an interpretation that is currently short on specifics. We call this strategy reverse underlining, and we talk about it more in Chapter 2 of our book, Writing Conventions. When reverse underlining, students use their first set of underlinings, or notes, to mark the focus they had originally taken to the text, a focus that is inevitably limited, and then to look at what they did not underline or focus on, so that they can expand and change their original focus to consider details of the text that they overlooked when reading it the first time. They'll see that the part of a sentence they hadn't underlined can change the meaning of that sentence, or that an author actually disagrees with the position she's outlined, rather than aligning herself with that position. In our experience, students are quite surprised to see how much the focus they took when first reading a text has limited what they've been able to make of it, and they often come to very different and better informed understandings of the text through using the strategy of reverse underlining. In learning this strategy, students also learn something even more important. First, they learn that it's normal for readers to overlook some details when reading a text, and therefore that when they don't arrive at the same understandings of a text as their teacher or their peers, it has more to do with what they've decided to focus on when reading. Second, they learn that it's normal to read texts more than once. Third, they learn that rereading in a way that changes their focus can help them better understand what they've read. In short, they learn to take control of their reading habits instead of allowing those habits to limit what they notice when they read. Teachers can also use the strategy of reverse underlining to help students understand differences between the approaches taken in particular disciplines. Students can reread such documents as course syllabi, assignments, and their teachers' comments on their writing to determine what a teacher and his or her course and discipline underline or focus on and value in texts or phenomena, the kinds of questions they want students to ask when studying a text or phenomenon. This can help students do better in these courses by helping them understand the defining concerns and methods of particular disciplines. What makes history different from sociology, for example? They can also use reverse underlining to go beyond a discipline's conventional understandings. For example, after they've identified the conventional approach of a discipline and what it leads them to focus on in a text, they can then use that identification to look at what that focus overlooks that might also be significant. This can help them to not just learn, but also contribute to the work of the very disciplines they're trying to enter.
For additional e-lectures, visit Pearson's Professional Development site for first-year writing instructors at www.pearsonhighered.com/compro.